Have you ever felt like you're always chasing fulfillment, but you just can't seem to ever catch it?
Like you're looking in all the wrong places.
Right. Well, in this deep dive, we just might have some answers for you.
Ooh, this is going to be good.
We're going to be taking a look at this excerpt that really makes you question where we place our expectations in life.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What does it say?
Well, it suggests that maybe we shouldn't rely on friends, spouses, activism, or even ourselves to fill that void we sometimes feel inside.
Interesting.
It's pretty radical, right?
Yeah.
Instead, this excerpt points us towards something much bigger than ourselves.
Okay, so let's dig into that a bit. What does the source say about that void feeling?
You know what I've noticed?
What?
It's like sometimes you achieve something you really wanted. Maybe you get a promotion or finally reach a personal goal.
Right, you think you'd feel amazing.
Yeah. But then sometimes you still feel this nagging sense of emptiness.
That's exactly what we're talking about here. It's like, what's next?
You got it. Like even
Right.
after the excitement wears off,
Yeah.
that feeling still lingers.
Definitely. And the source seems to be saying that expecting others to fix that feeling for us is setting ourselves up for some serious disappointment.
It is. You're putting so much pressure on those relationships.
A ton. Think about it. Imagine expecting your partner to be your sole source of happiness. What happens on the days they're having a bad day or when you have a disagreement?
That reliance can become toxic pretty quickly.
Totally.
It's like putting all your eggs in one basket and just waiting for someone to come along and drop it.
Right. And it's not just romantic relationships either. The source even talks about activism.
Oh, yeah. What did it say about that?
It was really interesting. You know how we pour our passion into causes, hoping to make a real difference in the world?
Yeah.
But what happens when all that effort doesn't actually lead to the outcome we were hoping for?
That can be devastating. I've definitely felt that sting of disappointment when I put my heart and soul into something and it just doesn't go as planned.
It makes sense, right? It's only natural for us to want to see the results of our efforts. But I don't think the source is saying that we shouldn't be passionate or dedicated to these causes.
That's good.
I think it's more about understanding that our sense of self-worth shouldn't be completely tied to outcomes that we can't fully control.
So it's about focusing on the effort, the intention behind our actions.
Yeah.
Not getting so fixated on whether or not we get specific results.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. But then the source kind of throws a curveball at us. It says that we shouldn't depend on ourselves either.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Which seems a bit contradictory, doesn't it?
Yeah, I get why that could seem a little confusing. But what if we thought about it like this?
Okay, I'm listening.
We all have limitations, right?
Of course.
No matter how hard we try, we can't control everything in life.
It's true.
So maybe this is about acknowledging that there's something bigger than us at work here.
Okay, I'm following you.
There's a force beyond what we can understand that plays a part in how things unfold.
Okay, now we're getting into the really interesting part of this excerpt. It actually uses the term Allah. Now, no matter what your personal beliefs are, how do you think this idea of relying on something bigger than ourselves could apply to you?
That's a good question.
Like, could this be about having faith in a higher power? Or trusting the universe? Or maybe just simply accepting that we aren't always the ones in the driver's seat?
For me, I think it's a bit of all of those things combined. It's about acknowledging that we're just a tiny piece of something so much larger than ourselves.
Yeah, I agree.
And it also takes a lot of humility to admit that we simply don't have all the answers.
Sometimes I think we try to act like we do, though.
All the time. But really, it could be about trusting your intuition or feeling a connection to nature. Maybe just having faith that things are going to work out, even when we can't see how.
You know, this reminds me of when I was making a career change. I was putting so much pressure on myself to figure everything out on my own, to make the right decision. And it was exhausting.
It sounds like it.
Finally, I had to take a step back and admit that I couldn't possibly control every single outcome.
Oh, what happened?
And you know what? As soon as I did that, new possibilities started popping up everywhere, ones I hadn't even thought of before.
Wow.
It really felt like I was finally in sync with something much bigger than myself.
That's a perfect example of what this excerpt is getting at. I remember going through a rough patch with my family, and I felt like I had to be the strong one, you know?
Yeah, I get
Like I had to have everything under control. But eventually I realized that letting go of some of that control wasn't a sign of weakness. Actually, it gave me a ton of strength.
That makes sense.
It allowed me to tap into this deeper well of resilience and peace.
It sounds like you found a new source of strength, one you couldn't have found just relying on yourself.
I did.
It seems like the takeaway here is that human connection and putting in the effort are obviously super important. But there's something else we need too.
What's that?
We have to acknowledge that there's something bigger guiding us, something we can rely on when things get tough, and something that can lead the way when we feel completely lost.
You said it perfectly. And as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a question.
Ooh, I love a good question.
What if you let go of the expectation that other people or certain outcomes will complete you?
That is a good one.
Do you think that would change how you see things or how you approach life?
What new possibilities would open up?
I think it could be pretty life-changing.
Until next time.
See you then.